Is Bitcoin going to the moon? Welcome back to Crypto Rosetta with Joe, and Savage has joined me this morning. We're going to go over the charts and have a quick discussion about where we think the price action is going next with Bitcoin, with crypto, what's going on, what a night it was last night. Good morning, Savage. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, Joe. Yeah, it was a bit of a mad one, wasn't it? That was a nice pump that went up there. I was expecting there was potential for a pump, but I wasn't quite expecting it to be as strong as it was.
Yeah, it certainly was, kind of, a bit wild last night. We've seen a lot of, FOMO, in our Discord. Now, if you're brand new on the channel for the very first time, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all notifications, and you'll never miss a show. And, if you enjoy this content, go ahead and smash that like. Take your time to do that. We really do appreciate it, and it helps the channel grow. Now, first of all, I think we have to talk, let's get straight into it about with Bitcoin, current price action, at time of recording, we're at $22,730. We did get a little touch higher than that last night, and we're kind of testing it again this morning, right?
That's it. And I mean, from a wave count standpoint, I'm potentially expecting a little bit higher to go here. Obviously, with these things now, you're talking about extensions within waves, so it can be a little bit hard to sort of pinpoint exactly where the extension is. That's like I was anticipating a move up. I wasn't quite anticipating the move up that we've had. So it is possible that this is just another extension within a wave. So what we have to do really is look for the confirmation on the corrections and then get a better picture from there. Sometimes we've got to just give it a little bit and see. But yeah, I think it could still have a little bit more to go up.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, on a previous video, called out, 22,000, thought 22,000 had, a decent probability of happening. And, obviously now we've confirmed that obviously that has played out beautifully. That's come in. And now we're kind of, at the next kind of, major sort of resistance level. And I think it's a really interesting point for Bitcoin here. I mean, it really is decision time. But again, we always say, zoom out, don't get too carried away with the FOMO because, there's a lot of probabilities that can happen here. Do you want to pull up the chart on Bitcoin now, Savage?
Yeah, so I mean, basically we were still looking for evidence of this bigger 5-wave move here. So what I was looking at yesterday, if I just turn it on here, is let me come into the hourly so it's a bit clearer. Basically, we were initially targeting out this zone here, this red box area, but we've actually blasted through that. So basically within this, it means that we've had some extension within here. And the way I'm currently looking at it is that this is potentially a 1-2. So we've still got a third wave. Well, we're in this third wave here, but because of the subdivisions here, it's hard to tell whether we've got one more push up on this fifth and we're still in this third wave over here, or whether this is actually completed. If we pull down deeper here, and basically what we'd be looking for confirmation of this would be sort of a move down towards, I'd want to come down a bit deeper, potentially to this 236 at this 22,322 area. It's for confirmation that we've actually completed and we're in this green fourth wave here. So that's what we'd want to see within this structure, is a move down sort of to that zone. It can potentially move down to as deep as this 21,806 and still be valid as a fourth wave, but I wouldn't want to see it go much lower than this 0.5 area. If this fourth wave starts to get too low here, we would have to assume that within this we've had a completed move, and then potentially we'd have to look at this either this fourth wave playing out, or if we move down, like I said, past this 50%, we'd have to assume that this is a completed move, and then we'd be looking for, basically at that point, if I zoom out here slightly, let's remove this fib, we would still have the potential of coming down for this bigger fourth wave, and that would be looking to actually bring us back down into the zone. If I can get onto this low point here. Obviously, this is anticipating, like, if we started to break down from this position, if we push up a little bit higher, it'll change this. But then effectively what we'd be looking for is the potential to actually come back down into this zone of between 21,000 and 19,260 at sort of a maximum range. So that would be a zone we'd be looking to actually retest within this. So if we do actually complete up here and we look to break down, sort of I'd be looking first off in this zone of consolidation here to see whether we move down and get a reaction and push back up. But at the moment, we've only got a 3-wave move here so far. We don't have a 5-wave move confirmed yet. So I will be looking for the confirmation of this 4th wave. If we do, like I said, push up a little bit higher here, that's fine as well. We'd just be looking for this 4th wave a little bit later at that point.
No, it's kind of really an interesting point right now. I still kind of feel where we're at now is, kind of going to be, potential major resistance though. So I think what's kind of going to be key here, if we're going to go higher from here, it's really going to depend on equities, markets next week. I think it really is a key time. Obviously we're seeing the Nasdaq have a decent rally on Friday evening, and obviously that's helped push Bitcoin. But that said, I do feel like it's a bit artificial in terms of we obviously had the options expiring on Bitcoin. Again, we've talked about it previously that did initially underestimate just how much shorting was going on, and clearly there was a lot of liquidity, a huge amount of liquidity sat above that was there to take. And I kind of feel that that's just what's happened yesterday. Again, just these institutions, the exchanges, the market makers, essentially, this is not retail, forcing this price up to take out that liquidity of no potential retail that we kind of shorting far too low, far too late, hadn't locked in gains, hadn't taken profits. This is what we always say: take the profits when you're in position, because don't think you're going to short it to zero or pump it all the way to the moon. It comes back, it chops you up, and it takes you out when you're trading out there, right?
No, 100%. And that, it is important because, like we were talking about previously, if you had been shorting it from the top here at 25,000 and you hadn't locked in any gains by the time it went down to 15, now you've basically just ridden that thing all the way down, gotten yourself into a nice big bag of profits, and then done nothing with it, and it's sort of retracing now, and you're going to be sort of worrying, well, do I need to close my position now? And that's what these moves are designed to do, really. It's supposed to shake people out, get everyone who's going long, get everyone who's going short, and then actually continue with the trend. So we'll have to see what happens. But obviously, we need to wait for confirmation as to. But even still, and a lot of people have been messaging me and saying, "Oh, but I'm looking for lower prices, and I sold out. But now, is it going to go?" It's always going to have a retracement. Maybe you might not be able to buy back if you've already sold out lower down. You might, well, I'd still think it's going lower personally, but even if we don't, even if the bottom's in, let's hypothetically say the bottom's in, you're still going to have another opportunity to buy back at a lower price than we are buying now. So to me, to try and jump in at this point, it's not rational to me. I think you just have to have a bit of patience and wait here, because I do think we're going to have a retracement.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've still changed, my personal thesis. I think we are definitely going lower, but use the word definitely rather, because there is no guarantees in this market. But we talked about confirmation there. With invalidation is still, significantly higher for me. I still want to see, Bitcoin breaking that 26K to maybe think, something else is playing out here. Still also talked about the max pain scenario, which would be to, go to 30K, flip everyone's super crazy bullish, not go to a new all-time high and roll over from there. That is still one option. Again, not my primary expectation. I'm not just saying that because I don't want it to happen, but, because obviously it would be pretty nasty if that potentially happens. It's going to be, slightly more difficult to trade. But no, my primary expectation still is at the minute that, if we're not going to roll over from this point right now, it's going to be, very soon. I'm still kind of looking at, the S&P 500, decent rally again yesterday, but I do think, that has, potentially lower to go. Now, Savage, do you want to pull up some of the equities charts for us and basically to show everyone what we're talking about here? Because I do think that, again, look, Bitcoin dominance against the altcoins flying up yesterday. Bitcoin, again, stronger than the equities markets for now. But we've talked about, it's easier market to move for the institutions, for the exchanges, heavy shorting, options expiring. There was reasons for it. Okay, it wasn't retail. And I do think eventually, that is still going to pull back with equities markets, in my opinion.
Yes, I mean, we have had a bit of a move up yesterday, and the thing is within this structure. So basically, we've had this as sort of a 5-wave move down, and we started to move back up here. So there's two ways we can look at this. We can look at it potentially as this is actually going to start to break down, and what we'd be looking for then is actually for a retracement up here, looking for this third wave. Either that or this corrective structure isn't completed, and we could look to actually push up one more time and look maybe to target out this 702 or the 786 region of this 4050 if it is going to push up one more time. I'll still be cautious on this if we do get another push up here, because until we take this high point here of 4101, basically I'm still looking for that potential to the downside here, and even if we do take this top here, I don't see it within the structure that this is basically forming a more bullish structure here. We can argue that potentially you could have something like a 1-2-1-2 here, but I don't like the structure and I'd want it to prove itself. So you'd want to see this take these high points and then sort of start to get some legs to the upside to sort of confirm that. But even then, yeah, until we take this X wave high at 4324, this could always still just be part of a corrective move here, and we actually look to break down. For the moment, it could still be a wave 2, but if we lose this, basically, then if we go back above this high point, then effectively it would invalidate this current 5-wave count from here, and we'd have to look at this as a flat correction in the middle of this move, and then potentially looking for one more 3-wave move up, which could, if that did play out, what we could then look at is potentially a move up again to this 4145 at a 1-to-1 of this move. So that would then just potentially make this, instead of looking at this as an ABC, we'd have to look at this as a WX and potentially a Y wave coming up here. Currently, it wouldn't suggest that it's going to go to 1-to-1 with this W wave, but it is possible. If that were to play out, effectively what we'd be looking for is a move higher up here towards this 4414 to 1-to-1. But yeah, I'm not seeing that at the moment within the structure. It doesn't make sense to me, that, but it is a possibility, so we just have to bear that in mind. But yeah, I think that we could break down.
If that kind of thing, starts playing out, then, obviously gonna have to, potentially change thesis on, where we're going this year. Obviously the market, potentially flipped more bullish than, expected into 2023. And it said it's always absolutely possible. Can't read the news ahead. It's just that, the charts still look, bearish primarily to us at the moment. That's the way we're assessing it on the channel. And, again, we're saying, what's great is, Savage, you're giving, the potential bullish option as well. And we're just gonna have to kind of, see how it plays out. But obviously the bearish is the kind of primary expectation at the moment. I think what's also really interesting as well, quite amazing that we've seen how many weeks, I'd say probably about, I don't know, just off the top of my head, without even looking at the charts, it really wouldn't surprise me of about, 7 or 8 of the last kind of 10 Fridays. It kind of feels like we've seen these kind of Friday rallies on the stock market, and, also into crypto. It's been pretty, fairly consistent. But again, what I always say is, look to the left on the charts, folks. You see, a lot of green candles, strong green candles on those Fridays that have been, erased come Monday, Tuesday with red again. So don't necessarily think, big bullish engulfing, candle on the Friday means, we're going to the moon on Monday. It just hasn't, played out like that recently. So I think, again, really interesting week. I said on our previous video that we did together, I was bearish for February. I'm not changing my mind on that at the moment, but again, anything can happen right in these markets, and you've got to be prepared to adapt. And when I say prepared to adapt, prepared to switch, prepared to kind of change where you think this market's going. This is where the stop losses are so important. You don't just keep moving them back when trades are going against you. You are going to get wrecked that way. It's okay to be wrong, folks. It's okay to take a small loss, come again, reassess, see where you're at.
No, 100%, Jan. Like, following up on what you said, I think this weekly close is going to be quite an important one. But even if it does close bullish, doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to remain there either. Do you know what I mean? If we've had a decent move up here, it's got to correct at some point. So that's what I'm sort of looking for that confirmation. So if we get a deeper correction, I'll be looking for that wave 4 at this point for Bitcoin. And a lot of the altcoins are following the same sort of structure. But until that actually comes in, you just got to be careful, because like you said, use proper risk management, because these things are sort of extending up as well. And a lot of the times what will happen is, if too much liquidity builds up above the move with everyone shorting early, they are going to move it. And I think, like you were saying as well, because I think this is the perfect time during the weekends for the market makers to be manipulating the space, moving that price where they want it to go, and then basically come Monday morning, business as usual again.
Absolutely. Now, as we're on actually time of recording, Bitcoin has just broken 23,000. So, it's getting really interesting now. And yeah, like you said, you thought, it could move a little bit higher. It seems to be playing out at the moment. But, again, still no panic. I still think, 23,000 from here to 25 is still, fairly significant. I do think we are kind of major resistance. And, one thing I want to kind of talk about again is these RSIs, because look at these RSIs on the weekly. Put it out in our Discord last night. Be interested in coming on into our Discord. It's free to join. Link is in the description below, folks. That essentially weekly RSI on Bitcoin, okay, is now higher than it was when we were at 48k. Just let that sink in. It also hasn't been this high since we were at the very top, at the all-time high. Again, let that sink in, folks. So again, that's just a little warning. Be careful. I know it's only one indicator. I know obviously saying, oh, of course we can have a retrace, reset that, and then off we go. If the bottom's in, of course, is absolutely possible. But to not expect some kind of drop soon, even if it's just a retrace, I think, well, again, anything's possible, but I think you'd have to be pretty brave to be thinking that, and certainly opening longs right now. So again, I can't give you financial advice, but personally, I would just be careful. I wouldn't personally be doing that myself.
Yeah, I think that's it. And I think sometimes it's better to be reactive when you're trading. Wait for it to have a reaction, and then use that as your point that you sort of look to target out for the trade. I'm not trying to anticipate it, but wait for that reaction. Look for a retest or something like that, and then at least then you've got a point for your stop, which is closer potentially, and then you can manage the trade a little bit easier. Whereas just sort of like randomly throwing one out there, yeah, you're probably going to get burned, because when these markets do move, we've all seen it before. Once they start to get some legs to them in both directions, they really get going. So you got to be quite savvy with how you're managing your trades.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, also kind of interesting as well, another chart we're following regularly on the channel, is the DXY. And again, with all these kind of moves up yesterday, we didn't see a dump at all on the DXY. Basically just, it's flattening out. It really is, kind of finding support now at 102, waiting for the next move, but no indications, of breaking down, which I think is quite interesting. We talked about that curve seems to be, flattening, looking like it's priming up for reversal. So is reversal coming on the DXY next week or in the coming weeks? I think it's absolutely, possible. Again, something to also be aware of. And again, just want to talk about with the news, obviously in crypto, obviously we've had it confirmed now that lender Genesis has filed for bankruptcy. Obviously that came this week as well. And this isn't like bullish news, folks, with the price action going up. So again, when we're talking about it being manufactured, just be careful. We already know that when the FTX filing is also dealt with, still expecting potential now of the number keeps rising. First it was 3.5, then it was 4.5, now it's over 5, potentially over $5 billion worth of crypto to be sold just to kind of deal with that mess. So again, there's a lot of bit of FOMO saying, oh no, FTX is coming back, FTX 2.0. I'm not kind of feeling it myself. I personally wouldn't be investing in that yet. I think it's far too higher risk in my opinion. Again, other charts we're still following. We're following, BNB, Binance again until kind of, break those kind of, key levels, get back above $360 again. Chart still looks bearish. So again, it's just, I think there's warning signs there, but I can understand why, you know, people are starting to think the bottom's more in now, because they see this, they think it's a massive pump. They go, you know, from percentage points, this is what happens, right? 15K to, you know, breaking 23 now. I don't, without even looking at that, you know, off the top of my head, and I can imagine that's, you know, about over 40% or whatever it is. You know, it's big. It feels really big, but you have to remember that the lower we go, folks, that the higher percentage those corrections are going to become without turning bullish. You know, I did say that, you know, if we were to break 10K, if we were to break way down on Bitcoin, there's a possibility of 100% rally with still the bottom not being in. That is still, you know, that is, as crazy as that sounds, that can happen. And that is, you know, something that you see in charts, you see in markets. The lower the price goes, the higher the percentage the correction will be. So from a trading perspective, yeah, great. There's always opportunities there. But, you know, from a spot buy and hodler perspective, you have to be careful there, you know, thinking it's a long way back. You know, especially if you're looking to hold to new all-time highs, I'd just, you know, you want it to be coming in a few months, you want it to be coming next year, you want to be, or in the next 2 years, but you have to be, you know, understand that you got to take profits on the way, because there's no guarantees you're going to be blasting off the new all-time highs, in my opinion.
No, that's 100%, Joe. And like, you know, if you had accumulated some at the bottom areas, it might still be a good idea to, obviously we can't give you financial advice, but it might be an idea to think to yourself, is it worth me taking some profits?
Yeah,
you know, it has moved very high, very fast. And even if you do think the bottom's in, and you thinking, okay, well, maybe I should just take a little bit of that cream as profit. And then once it goes back down lower, you know, I can reaccumulate it. You know, there's always opportunities to do that within this market. And you got to be, like you said, when we get lower down in price, these rallies get bigger in percentage terms. And it's not because it's more bullish or more, it's just the fact that it's moved down far enough that from obviously a statistical point of view, the rally just moves higher in the sense of percentage terms. So people need to just be careful. You don't want to be like, the problem is if you try and jump in now and it retraces 50% of where it's going, you're going to be 20% down before you've even started. Even if you do think it's going to all-time highs, you still got to come back up another 20% for you to be broke even. So
that's it. I mean, I put it out on Twitter yesterday, and obviously that's saying I would rather be a seller than a buyer now. And you got to be, looking at these RSIs, look at the green candles, etc. You know, look at the run, and yet this has come on a week, folks, where we've had bad economic data. Now, again, getting a lot of Moon Boy accounts on Twitter saying doesn't affect Bitcoin. Bitcoin does its own thing, blah, blah, blah. Keep spinning that. Give me some more, you know, Bitcoin to the moon. Give me some more followers. Again, don't get suckered in. You can fall for that if you want, but, you know, look at history, folks. You know, again, they say this, and then how many times have they been saying this? How many times have those same accounts been saying all the same crap last year, and the price goes lower?
100%, Joe. And, you know, I think when they start throwing out like these trades and they're like, look at my profit, I'm this many 100,000s in profit, and I'm this and I'm that, you know, it's yeah, you got to just be careful, because, you know, they're also trading with an amount that's relative to them. So, you know, people will try, it's like, if for them to open a trade, that position is not like for like me to open up a trade for that position, where I'd have to literally go to the bank and try and get all my life savings together to open a position that big. But you know, that's it. It's all relative. For them, it's still a small percentage of risk that they're using within that trade. So that's the most important thing. But don't get suckered in, guys and girls. You know, it is one of those that it's just for followers. It's just for that interaction. It's just to get those clicks and everything else going. Like Joe said, every time that we've had a move up here over this whole bear market, it's been going to 100K. So just be careful.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was said again. we will, happily change, our opinions on this channel. We will let you know straight away, if we feel that the markets do flip bullish and that, is going to come in. But at the moment, we're just not seeing any signs of that. So, thank you for sticking with us. Thank you for the support. Thank you to all the new subscribers. We really do appreciate it. We're going to leave this one with you there, folks. Hope everyone has a fantastic weekend. And again, Savage is going to have more charts out today. Keep requesting, in the comments below as well, what charts you want to see. We really do appreciate your feedback. Savage, you got any final words?
No, that's it. I was just going to say, yeah, if you have any requests or anything like that, just throw it in the comment sections and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Obviously, it takes time for us to do the videos and stuff, so it's not going to be instant, but we will do it as soon as we can. And yeah, we really appreciate the support. Thanks to everybody. We're over 400 subs now, so just want to say thank you for everyone for supporting us, for hitting those like buttons, for commenting on the videos. Really means a lot. And if you are watching and you haven't hit that subscribe button, you may as well hit it. Turn on that bell notification so that you get kept up to date with all the latest content that we're putting out. And yeah, just thank you, everybody. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again.